Welcome to Lone and Behold with Sparkle, our very first podcast. I'm so excited.
We're so lucky.
I don't know about that, but we're going to have fun anyway.
That's good.
I am so excited today to have Dia Kelly and Donna Morton with me, and just absolutely my oldest, dearest clients and friends. And Jonna is the granddam of Ruffle Real Estate by a long shot. Tell us, Jonna, how long you been in the business?
Well, let's just say over 40 years. But let's say closer to 50 than 40. I know she doesn't like to admit it, but she's still kicking so well that there is no embarrassment behind that.
Her doubt. There is no stepping her down. That's for sure. That's for sure. So, Jonna, tell me when did you join Jonna?
About 25 years ago.
25 years ago. And you and I were doing business before that together. How I'm just trying to even think.
Well, she started in the business when Daddy made her.
Right.
Yeah. She had never even worked before I went off to college. And so Daddy set her up and she said, this is what you're doing. And he was the most brilliant person there ever was because even though she started out calling him at home to get him to calculate her payments, because used to we couldn't just send somebody to the mortgage person. You had to do all the calculations yourself. And she'd go in the back room and call him up and he'd tell her what payment to tell these people that they were going to have. And eventually, it just clicked and it's been the most natural thing for her forever. And,
so awesome.
Yeah.
I tell you, Jonna, you and I have been doing this for so long. It's almost like we read each other's minds. I've been doing this for 35 years now. So I was about, and of course I was selling real estate before that.
I know. Yeah, that's where y'all met.
Yeah.
We first met when you were doing real estate as well. And I remember then thinking how young you were and how brilliant you were.
Oh, please. Oh, please. I just can remember thinking, man, if I could just be half of what Jonna Morton is as a realtor, I'd really be something someday,
Yeah, and back then, Sydney and my son Tanner were about the same age.
Oh,
they were babies.
Babies. Well, I started in the mortgage business when Sydney was a baby. So
I remember them riding the elephant at the circus together.
Yeah, they rode the elephant at the circus together. But that's been a long, long time. And then I jumped over into the mortgage business, and Jonna and I've been doing this ever since.
I tell you.
Yeah, and see, for years it was Realtor Mortgage Title Company because I was in the title business for 17 years, and that trifecta.
Yeah.
It's just so important to have good contacts in mortgage, real estate, and title.
It was golden.
Well, the thing that made the difference in my business is when we first started, we would have a number of lenders and we would send our people maybe to 2 people. And then there were times when after 6 weeks, a lender would come back and say, I'm sorry, you're just not approved.
Yeah.
And I remember calling you and saying, when I send somebody, I want to know if they're approved or not that day.
Does she exactly said that to me?
Those
are true words. Those are true words.
But I felt like that was the only way to take care of people. Was not to have them drag around for 6 weeks wondering if they were going to get a loan or not.
And then those people that we dealt with somebody else for 6 weeks, we'd turn them over to you saying, we need to find out really what we can do. And then you'd have it done and have us closed in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, that was always the goal. It was always the goal. I tell you, the thing I just have learned from Jonna in all these years that I just value so much is Jonna does what's best for people, regardless of what's best for Jonna. Every time to this day. And to the point of sometimes I'm just like, really? Like, I can assure you that Jonna Morton has talked more people out of houses than she's ever talked them into a house.
There's no doubt about that. It's very frustrating when people are trying to buy a house that I know is bad for them. And it's a lot harder to talk them out of something, it seems like, than it would be to talk them into
Oh,
something.
yeah. I mean, just completely protect them from themselves at all costs.
Well, see, we've lost listings over that also
Really?
because we have, said, okay, where are you going to go when we sell your house?
Uh-huh.
And so we'll sit down and we'll say, okay, this is what you're interested in. This is what you can buy right now. And you've helped us with that. We've sent them to you for pre-approvals. And so we'll be like, okay, based on this pre-approval, this is what you can buy. And they're just like, oh, well, I think maybe we'll just not sell right now. And so we'll lose a listing and
Yeah, and the sale. Yeah. Yeah.
but it would have, we've taken care of people before when somebody has sold their house
Yeah.
without making sure they had some place to go. And then we had a realtor just sold their house and drop them
Because they couldn't go buy
because
what
they
they
couldn't
thought.
help them find anything. And then, we ended up helping them and they were traumatized through the whole ordeal
Right.
because they couldn't move into something that they really wanted.
Well, and potentially homeless at that point.
Yes.
Well, it's really wonderful when I can call you and say, what can I do for these people? Because if you don't know what they're capable of, you could be showing them things that are too expensive, and then they would just be hurting because they can't buy it. And yet, you've just got to know so you can take care. And I don't mind spending hours looking for something, and in numerous areas. All of those things are good as long as you know you're taking care of them. And that's
Right.
what's
And have them
important.
in a price range they can actually afford and be
Yeah.
comfortable. For sure.
And that's one of the things that's so important about the pre-approval process because people quite often think they can afford more than they can. And so if they start looking in this higher price range, finding stuff that they like, then when they realize that they're having to look in a lower price range, it makes that not look as good.
Yeah.
But if they just start at the right price range, then they don't.
They don't have to back down their
Right.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, I think that people's expectations set up front it's just critical to the success and having a strategy for them and some clarity about where they're headed and what their payment's going to be and in whatever price range it is.
Mhm.
And then you guys have clarity about how to do your jobs too. You know,
Yeah.
it just carries through the whole thing. It's so critical, so absolutely critical. And I think that over the years we've done that over and over and over and set strategies and given people clarity and it's been a blessing for us and the people that we work with over the years.
Well, I tell you what's crazy over the years is going from what real estate was like when mom started to what real estate is like now and how much she has had to adjust to the way things are done. I mean, when mom first started, she was looking up listings in a book.
Oh, we had
Yeah.
remember those big old MLS
Dallas
books?
MLS
And
book.
to get those big old books
Every 2 weeks.
it was at 2 weeks.
Every
I
2
remember
weeks.
getting those big old books.
And when you were showing, you had to go pick up keys at agents' offices. And so that was just part of your prep.
Yeah.
You'd use the Mapsco to map out
Oh,
where you're going
go
to.
Mexico.
And
Oh, yeah.
mom would print the pages and so that she would follow them and then she would study them before she went out with people so she could act like she knew exactly where she was going all the time.
This is that act like.
Act like you knew where you're going anyway.
Well, I mean, everything changes. I mean, right now I have to act like I know where I'm going because things change so often. But man, for her to be able to go from that to the crazy markets that we've had over the years. When she started, interest rates were 16%.
Yeah.
And she was just like, if I can talk somebody into buying the house and paying 16% interest, I can talk them into anything. Yeah, just over the years of the different crazy markets, the 2020 when
Yeah.
COVID happened and people were paying astronomical amounts of money for their houses.
But way over list price. We had never been through that. That I can remember.
COVID was one of our best producing years.
Oh, yeah.
Because the builders were offering the closing cost, and then they would give them everything. It got to the point it wasn't just blinds and appliances. They would do their garage floor, and then they would give them outside lighting.
Yeah.
And people were just
adding
like,
on
I'm going to buy something. It was a fun year for me.
Plus, they didn't have anything else to do.
Oh, that's
people
true.
were trapped at home.
Yeah.
And then it started being, well, gee, we've got to find something with a pool because we're going to be at home.
Oh, I know. No, well, and I think we saw people move out away from where they were geographically because everybody was remote and assumed they would stay that way.
Yeah.
They were moving out further from the suburbs and moving out the country and things like that.
It was interesting today at lunch. We were having lunch in Maybank, and a lady came in and I said, do you live in Maybank? She said, closing on a house today. We're moving from Coppell.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, that is just what has happened now for years. More people moving.
Definitely. There's more people are remote. They don't have to live close to an office. They work from home. It doesn't matter where they live. And as a lender, from a lender's perspective, as long as we have confirmation from the employer that they don't care where they live, we don't care either. Used to, it was like, oh, you can't be more than this many miles from your office.
Right,
It has to be a reasonable commute. And, well, that's all out the window. Everybody wherever. They may have to go into their office once a week or, periodically, but it doesn't affect their ability to work and pay the loan off.
A funny thing that I think about people today is the other day I was showing my cousin and her husband homes, and I thought that they wanted to be up like McKinney in that area. So I was going to find a place over in Princeton where they could just go over. It's Fairview, I think.
Right.
And they would just go there on a country road. And I thought that would be so good. And my cousin says, no, I want to be right on 75. And I thought, you never know what people really want until you start showing them property. So anyway, we found them a house. It is literally,
you can see 75 from there.
Oh, really?
There's some businesses like a hospital or something right on 75. Their subdivision is right behind it, but you can see between the buildings and you can just see 75. They love it.
They're close to their doctor.
Thing that was so exciting, like our parents used to go to Maybank in a wagon, and they had Walmart deliver something in their backyard by drone.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that the crazy
And I thought, is that exciting to think? And they took pictures and sent them to us and everything, but I thought it's amazing the changes.
Where we've come. I can remember starting in the mortgage business. Well, I'm really going to tell my age here. Of course, we've already told our age. But let's just keep on going down that road. But I can remember we would get our rates every morning on this old thermal paper on a fax machine. And I'd holler at the girls, get that copied, and they'd have to rip it off that fax machine and run and make a copy of it because it would go away. That old thermal paper.
It would turn.
Yeah, it would just turn back to nothing. And they'd have to copy that rate sheet so we'd know what our interest rates were that day before that old thermal paper disappeared. the print on it disappeared.
I don't think I'm that old.
Yes, you are. And we would type in those applications or on
I remember
on
hand typing
hand
closing
typing, yeah.
statements on my
And
Selectric.
yeah, on this electric, and if you messed up, you had to start over. You couldn't even white out a mortgage application. You'd have to just completely start over, you know.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, in our lifetimes where this has gone and you know, now I can remember getting a loan ready, working, getting a loan ready and getting it all in the folder and getting it in the file order and getting it all ready and just racing like a crazy woman to the FedEx to get it into the underwrite. And we were busy. We had a deadline. We had to get there before FedEx. Well, now we hit a bus.
Yeah.
Underwriter.
Do you remember when we used to have these little guys that would pick up stuff and drive
Oh,
it
the
places?
couriers. Oh, yeah, we had a courier.
That was big
Oh,
for a
but that
while.
was big money back
Oh,
then.
yeah.
Before we could start just scanning and sending stuff.
Yeah. Many underwriter and closing documents. We couriered those things all around, you know.
Yeah.
And money, we were couriering money around.
Sending that check.
Yeah, sending that check, whatever. You know, I mean, it is amazing to me where we are now.
Well, I will tell you one thing that I miss, and that is I always like to talk to people directly and be able to show them on paper exactly what they were going to do.
Uh-huh.
And now I have so many people that actually prefer to do the DocuSign. Yeah, I'll just do that. And I think I just really miss being able to have more of that personal contact with people.
Those relationships. I mean, you feel like you kind of miss that a little bit, you know.
Well, used to everybody rode in your car with you too, you know,
Is
when
that
you
not how it is
it
now?
so often, especially if they're only looking at one or two houses and they'll just say, "Oh, I'll just meet you there." And her favorite part is the visiting with them between houses to get their opinions on what they've looked at. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's tough.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons that I still have all of these clients that I have, because I actually made friendships with those people and got to know them.
Mhm.
And nowadays, I think it's much more difficult to try to relate to people if you don't
Just
have
to
that
build a
opportunity.
relationship.
Well, the return business is what's made us so successful.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
yeah.
And right now, we've got a listing with somebody that this is our 6th time to deal with them, and we're fixing to sell them a house. So that'll be our 7th time to work with them. And so that's just with one person. And we've also done, you know, work with my daughter or work with my mom. And so, you know, definitely if somebody trusts you enough to refer you to their personal family, it just
Means everything.
yeah.
It makes me think of this one client that we have. I've sold them any number of homes, but one of the recent one was her dad. And she's a real smart lady, but the dad calls Dia all the time and asks her questions about how to do things about his taxes and all those kind of things. And I just think that that's what makes me so proud of Dia, because people that I made friends with years ago now have transferred that
Yeah.
over to her because she's the smart one now.
Yeah.
Well, plus, if it's any question that has to do with anything about doing paperwork, there's
You're
one.
the paperwork.
Yeah,
part
there's
now.
kind of the seniority
Yeah.
because of the seniority thing. She
Yeah.
is like, I don't do paperwork anymore, you know, and she's still right on top of everything, doing the fun stuff.
Yeah.
And but
It's not all-
paperwork
it's
is
not-
not the
it's-
fun stuff.
It's not all fun, is it?
It's like if it's showing or if it's looking up which properties somebody wants to look at, then she's all over that. But then when it comes to writing the contract and getting signatures and all that kind of stuff, it's like, all right, that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You know,
Isn't
what
that
I really like to do too is when we're doing a listing and we're doing pictures, I'm one to want numerous angles and shots to show it's the very best way. And sometimes I think Dia would take a shortcut, but not me.
Yeah,
We're gonna
I will tell you though, Dia has staged some houses and put some deals together that I would have thought, never dreamed they looked like they looked by the time y'all were done with them and got them all staged.
I
Pictures.
think it's all the difference in the world.
Mhm.
And that's why we commented a while ago. We'd had one on the market one day and we hadn't had a showing. That's really unusual because we want to put that house on the market in a condition that somebody is going to fall in love with it the very
Yeah.
second they see it.
Yeah, very
Well, and the pictures are the most important thing these days. I
Yeah.
mean, the better your pictures are, the more people that will come look at it, the better chance you have of finding that right person for that house.
Yeah. I tell you, I have experienced recently, and I don't know if y'all had this experience, but clients buying houses sight unseen. They've just got a family member that goes and looks at them, or the realtor just videos them, or I just can't even imagine doing that. But people, it's not terribly uncommon.
We've done it with military families
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, yeah. It's not. Again, makes me a nervous wreck. You know.
Well, it does make us a nervous wreck too. And
Yeah.
I've been like talking to them through Facebook and driving down the street so that they could. I don't want you to just see this house. I want you to see this neighborhood because
Right.
I don't want you to get here and think, why didn't you tell me about this?
Exactly. Exactly. It's
Well,
a lot of responsibility. You know.
I know one house that we sold in Lakeside Village, and he would not come see it. And he just lived in Oklahoma. So I thought he could get down here and look at this house. And he kept saying, no, I don't need to come. I know all about it. And it just makes you anxious because you think maybe they think they know, but what if they don't? But he's happy as a lark.
You're right.
Yes, he did.
Well, what do y'all think about the market right now? How are you feeling as far as
Well, it's definitely better than the market where we were having to tell people, hey, we're going to look at this house. It's been on the market for 3 hours. And if you want it, you've got to write a contract tonight and you're going to have to pay $50,000 more than it's worth.
exactly?
So it's definitely a much more reasonable market right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the interest rates are stable and they're not crazy. And, we may even be looking at them going down a little bit more. But, I don't think we'll ever, you never know, get back down to those really low interest rates.
Well, I don't know. I didn't think we would ever see it in the beginning, and we saw it. So,
I was talking to a client earlier today that we're doing a refinance for, and they were trying to decide whether to buy the rate down a little bit, on the and of course the refinance. And they're going to be able to get it like 5.75, 5.875, with a little bit of a buy down, not a huge buy down. And they're like, well, what if, and, we'll probably want to refinance this. And my comment was, in order for this refinance to make sense, the rates are going to have to be in the high threes or low fours because, it wasn't a very big loan amount. I said, we have not seen that but once, maybe twice in my 35 years in the business.
And it was for not a very long period of time. And it was really funny because when it was that low, people weren't really jumping all over it.
No.
Because they were like, maybe it'll go down a little bit more.
Yeah.
either that or they thought it was a depression.
Or they thought it was going to last.
scared.
Yeah. But, people now, I'm just like, these, if we get down in the mid fives, those are not, in my mind, in our lifetime, going to be refinanceable rates. They're just not. I've been doing this for too long, and his history repeats itself. That's just not really going to be a thing. Sans another pandemic or something crazy, but I just don't see it happening. I really don't, and I keep counseling people that, don't do this with the intent. If we get you down in the fives, don't anticipate it.
I mean, and rates are reasonable. I mean,
Yeah.
people need to do it now. I mean, that's one of the biggest questions that we get is, well, I don't know, maybe we should wait a year,
Yeah.
and you don't know what it's going to be like in a year. But you have to keep in mind that whatever you're dealing with selling your house right now, you've got the same thing buying. So if you're having to pay higher buying, then you're going to have the same thing
Yeah.
selling. So
Works
it's not
in the
like,
inverse. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to,
I did an analysis the other day on a client that bought a home in 2019 before the market went crazy in 2020, right? They bought the home for, just a normal sales price. I think they paid like $375 for it, something like that. And they got like a 5.875 rate, a reasonable rate about
Mhm.
where we are right now. A year later, that same house sold for nearly $600,000 on their street. And those people, yes, got the great 3% interest rate or whatever, but the payment on the on the $400,000 house at the 5.75 was a better payment than at 600,000 at 3%.
Uh,
yeah.
And then we refied those people
mhm.
into the lower interest rate at the lower sales price. They were the winner. The people that waited for that low interest rate and that high price were not the winner ever.
They saw the difference in the world just to
Yeah.
step out there. And
Yeah.
I mean, we do have people come to us that they bought their house a year ago
Yeah.
and they're like, we need to sell, and that's just going to be one of those situations where if you've got to sell and you've only owned your house for a year, then
Right.
you're just going to have to suck it up.
Well, you've
There's
gotten the benefit of your appreciation. Appreciation
right.
is kind of like compounding interest on any investment. You got to give it a little time. You need to give it enough time for it to be a good investment. That's for sure. But I just think, waiting right now, if you wait until the interest rates drop a quarter less, and we get down in the high to mid fives, prices are going to go up because demand is going to increase, and you're going to be the 2020 guy, not the 2019 guy that won.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You can't do that. It's not, that math does not math ever. So I think that's really, and it's very hard to convince people of that are cautious about it. You really have to run the math and you have to show it.
Well, that's where you're so brilliant, though, because you're able to look at all of those numbers and help them to see that. And there are a lot of people that will not take the time to do that and care that much about people.
Yeah.
So,
I learned that from you, Donna. I learned that from you. Well, guys, it has been so great having you guys here. How much fun! How many years of fun, and some tough ones and some great ones, and some triumphs and some really harder deals. But we've made it through them all.
Well, I tell you, there is not another person probably that could get us through the way you've gotten us through. There has never, ever been one person that you've given us a pre-approval letter that we haven't been able to close. And that's just one of the things that is such a struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so often mortgage people, lenders that'll flash out this little pre-approval letter and then somewhere down the line they'll be like, well, we didn't know about this.
Yeah.
well, I think
So
it's just a matter of your confidence in the way you handle people that gives them confidence.
Well,
And that's what I appreciate very much.
well, we feel very lucky. We've worked together for years and years and years, and we just hope that we will continue for years to come, and we'll just keep building each other's success.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys. Thank y'all for coming. I love you so much.
Thank you. That was good.